Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. What we're going to make are brownies. For you folks that have followed me, I have been putting on several brownie recipes. This particular brownie recipe incorporates using granulated sugar, white sugar, as well as brown sugar. So it has kind of a mixed quality of taste due to the sugar. My other brownies were quite different, and please check them out. So if you're looking for brownie recipes, I'm not sure how many, but I have many brownie recipes and all types of flavors of brownie recipes. But this is a good one, like I said, because I do like the combination of brown sugar and granulated sugar. I think it makes a nice combination to the brownies. Okay, so let's get started. First up, I no longer put the recipe below my video, and I'm sorry about that, but hopefully I'll go through clearly enough and slowly enough that you'll be able to jot it down or get the recipe. Okay, so first up, also, you can use your stand-up mixer if you prefer, as I'm doing, or a hand mixer. It's really up to you of what you want to use or what you have. I use the stand-up because I think it's much quicker for the video, so I don't have to keep you folks, watching a long time. So that's why I use it. I also will give you a heads up during this process because the sound can be loud on your end. So I will give you a heads up, okay? So let's get started. First up, what you're going to do is you're going to need 1 cup of butter. You do want to melt it and you do want to cool it because we're going to be using eggs in a moment and you don't want to make scrambled eggs. So I actually just melt it in my microwave because it's easier for me, or whatever method you prefer, and do cool it. Take the time and let it cool down, the butter. So that was 1 cup. The next thing I'm going to do is put in and beat in 3 eggs. And they have been at room temperature. And I'm going to beat one at a time. And again, I'm going to warn you about the sound. That's 1, that's 2. Stay with the eggs and the butter till it becomes very ribbon-like, yellow, pale in color. So you do want to spend 2 or 3 minutes, depending on your speed, of course. But I'm moving it along due to the video. I would normally beat those longer, okay? The next thing that we're going to be putting in is 1½ teaspoons of vanilla, and I'm going to turn my mixer on. Just to give it a quick blend. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually start putting the sugars in. So we're going to put in 1 cup of granulated sugar at a little at a time and give you a heads up about the mixer. Next up, what we're going to beat in is 1 cup of brown sugar. It can be light or dark, it's up to you. I left it this way to remind you that of course it means it's packed, okay? So I'm just going to take that and I'm just going to break it up with my hands all at one time, being it's in, a packed state, and I'm going to beat that in. So give you a heads up. again, make sure that now the sugars and everything that's in your bowl is well beaten or well combined. The next thing you're going to be putting in is 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened baking cocoa. Now, this is not the cocoa that you just add water and you make hot chocolate. This has no sugar in it, so it's unsweetened, and I want to really, emphasize that why I'm using 3/4 of a cup of unsweetened baking cocoa. Warn you about the sound. Now, I'm going to turn it up just for a few moments so that I can clean the sides of the bowl. So heads up on sound. Okay, now normally would I go that high? No, but I got to move it along for the video. And now I'm just taking my spatula, cleaning the sides of the bowl, and just kind of reaching at the bottom where it tends to not blend as well as it should. And I'm going to take that excess off. Okay, with my spatula. The next thing is flour. You're going to use, I have to check my list here because my memory's failing me right now. 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and with my little whisk, I'm going to bring in 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Again, 1.5 teaspoons, and I'm just going to give it just a quick little mix here. You don't have to be, real fussy with it. Just give it a good little mix, okay? And now I'm going to slowly put this in till it's well combined, and I don't want to overbeat it because I find that then the brownies come up too heavy, too dense, and I don't think you're going to like that. So I'm going to just add it a little at a time at low speeds. So of course this flour doesn't go all over me in my kitchen. So warn you about the sound. Okay, now normally would I go that high of a speed? No, but I wanted to clean the sides of the bowl and of the mixing bowl and to move it along for the video. Now I'm just going to take my paddle out here, push my mixer aside, and I'm just going to take the excess off real quickly. This is a time I always say, it's hard, baking is so much fun. It's nice to know what ingredients, because you put the ingredients in it, but they're expensive. So I really hate to waste anything. And now I'm just going to make sure that the sides of the bowl are all clean and the liquid and the batter are well combined. And check that bottom. Now, you'll want this batter to be quite silky and smooth, and it will be shiny and glossy. But again, try not to overbeat it, just till everything's well combined. And now, as probably I pour it, you're going to be able to see its consistency, as well as I talked about the smoothness, the velvety smoothness of this batter. And I'm going to get it all out and pour it into my pan. I hope you can see that I purposely are putting my bowl up high so you can see it as it comes out. Okay, All right, I'll set that aside. And then with my spatula, or you can use a knife, whatever you prefer, just even it out. Make sure that it's into the corners of your pan. And then, by the way, I did grease it and I dusted it with flour. You can use your parchment paper if you prefer, or whatever type of baking pan, whether it's silicone or that type of thing that you have. And I'm going to take the excess off my spatula. All right. Now, you're going to bake this in a 350-degree oven. I'll give it a little tap there. And you will be baking it for anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. This particular pan is 13 by 9, okay? And you should get about 1.5 dozen of brownies. But again, it depends on how large you cut the pieces. You know, the larger, you're going to get less of the recipe. The smaller, of course, you'll get, you know, more. So it's really depending upon you of how you want to make, how big you want your brownies to be cut into. Now, keep in mind with the brownies that, you know, we know our ovens all set up differently. So I start to watch mine within that 22 mark, that type of thing, because I don't want to overbake them. I don't want them to be too dry. So do check them with a toothpick or a cake tester or that type of thing to see that they're baked, okay? And then I would urge you to, when they're out of the oven and they're hot, to place them on a cooling rack, and do wait till they're cooled off, because I'll show you in a moment why, you don't want any cracks and that kind of thing. So again, 350, a 13 by 9 pan, anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. You might go to the maximum time and you might go to the minimum, whatever, depending on your oven. So I'm going to rinse my hands quickly, and then I'm going to show you the finished product. Okay. I like to wash my hands because I was working with raw eggs, and this is how it will come out. Now, I moved it a little too soon, and, you know, I did get a crack on it. Now, is that going to change the taste of these great brownies? No. But, you know, still, you don't want it to really happen. Now, what's nice about these brownies, you can eat them plain. You could dust them with powdered sugar. You could make a sugar glaze, or you could put a chocolate frosting or a chocolate ganache over it, something like that. They are great tasting brownies. I'm going to cut into them, so to give you a, you know, an idea. Now, what they will be is moist, but when you bite into them, you will get a nice chew out of it. And again, I believe you will taste the combination of the two sugars. It makes for a delicious tasting brownie. It really does. Your bottom will bake up to a medium brown. The top will be a harder, not, you know, hard top, but it, you know, it'll have a firm top to them, that kind of thing. And they're absolutely delicious with a cup of coffee or a cup of cappuccino, that type of thing. And they're really, really pretty easy to make and quick to put it all together. So there you have it. You know, I want to tell you that if you try this recipe and you like it, well, I'd love to hear from you. But to remind you again, I solely put my videos only on YouTube. So if you watch me on YouTube and you write to me on YouTube, I'll get your question, I'll get your comment, and I will do my very best to answer in a timely fashion, okay? Now, if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, well, I can't thank you enough. Or ring the bell or give it a like. Well, that's it for me today. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.